Hello traders and welcome back to another one of my YouTube videos. My name is Nick, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a GBP USD day trade that I am currently involved with. You can see I'm already in the trade on the sell side. If we zoom in a little bit here, you can see we are just entered into the trade just recently. I did not catch the entry, unfortunately. I stepped away from the computer and came back, and sure enough my order had actually filled. But what I'm going to be doing today in today's video is we're going to be watching this trade GBP USD start to finish, win or lose, and I'm going to talk about why I took the trade and watch how the trade unfolds, as well as how I manage it in real time going forward. Let's go ahead and get into the video right now. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Nick, also known as Trader Nick here on YouTube. I make all sorts of Forex videos and kind of my strategy ideas and all sorts of research that I've done over the years. I share my stuff here, as well as some of my live trades, as you can see here. This is a current trade I have on GBP USD. I just recently got into the order. If we drop it down to the 15-minute chart, you can see price actually wicked up into our zone. And let's talk a little bit about the entry. Let's talk about why we took this trade to the sell side. Again, if I back up to the 30-minute chart, this trade was actually taken on the 1 hour chart. And the reason I got involved here, as you can see, I've drawn a Fibonacci tool from the kind of high point over here to the low point. So if I draw in this area, again, this area here, we drew, this is the kind of recent high in the recent kind of price action that we've seen. This is our recent low. And you can see I've drawn a Fibonacci from high to low. And then that gave us kind of our levels here. So we have the 61.8, we have the 50% level, and we have the 38.2% level. I was watching the 50% level as a retracement level here, and I'll tell you why. We are looking here in the New York session. We've already had the London session play out. We saw some bullish momentum here, but I think there's a good chance that we see some sort of fade or some sort of retracement on the New York session. So I put out this limit order in the membership group. All of my trades and stuff happen live in there. So if you'd like to watch along with my trades, you can follow along in the VIP team. There's a link down below in the description. I highlighted this zone here because this level here has been a sell zone previously, right? So this is a fresh level of resistance. So recently we've seen a nice little sell-off from that zone. And so my idea here is that if price can come up into that area, which we've already seen happen, we might see a repeatable kind of format here, right? They say history repeats itself, not always in trading, but there's a good chance that if we find a technical zone like this, we could create a high probability trade, which is what I'm hoping to do here. If price continues higher, then I'm just going to stop out of the trade once price kind of breaks through these zones here. What I'd like to point out is you can see that we also have some resistance in this zone here, right? And so if price can break through that level, then I'm probably not interested in being in the trade, and I'd probably cut the trade and cut the loss here with, again, using about a 0.30 lot size here on this particular trade. So nothing massive compared to the account, but again, looking for some sort of rollover here. So what we can see here so far is a nice little, we've seen some reaction to this zone already, which is nice. We saw price wick up into that area as I showed you on the 15-minute chart, and we've seen some sort of rejection so far. Now, going forward, what I'd like to see ideally is that we see a continued rollover down and maybe even back to this area or the area where I've taken or set my take profit. Now, if I kind of highlight why I did that, you can see if I get this shape out here, I'm gonna go ahead and make this light green. This is kind of towards the bottom of our zone, right? Price, again, here's our high, here's our low of kind of the recent price action structure. So I drew that in, and I liked this area as a level to potentially get out of if price can roll over. And the reason is this major level over here. If I kind of get my camera out of the way, you can see we did have multiple kind of structural bounces off of this zone. So I've seen a lot of buying pressure in this area. Now, if price can come back down into that area, we may see a continued buy. Now, if we kind of extend that area, take a look at this. This entire zone is kind of a buy zone, right? Even down here in this consolidation. So I don't want to kind of risk losing the trade just on, kind of going for that take profit if it's down here. I'd like to just get out where I see demand, which also, if I point out right here, you can see I noticed this area right here. You can see, notice how price made an initial spike to the upside. We pulled back and we found buy support right around this area here. So that is a fresh level of support. And that's where I'm going to be looking to potentially take the trade off if we can get that rollover on this particular movement. If price can come down here, I'm going to close out the trade right around there. I believe it's about $150. If I kind of calculated that out right, let's see. So it says right around $155 if we win the trade. And if we lose the trade, I've managed my risk. I put my stop loss in up here at about $77 of loss if price makes its way to the high side. You can see price so far in the green. We've made a nice movement to the low side off of this structure. Again, if I bring it back to that 5-minute or the 15-minute chart, we can see price jumped up into that zone that we had pointed out very nicely, holding our resistance zone almost to the pip, right? Maybe even half a pip into kind of the red initially, but overall really just kind of saw some rejection as we had looked for on this particular level on GBP USD. So going forward, looking for that rollover. I'll keep you guys updated with the trade and keep you updated on how the overall trade goes, profit or loss from here. Okay guys, got an update here for you on GBP USD. I will say I got really busy with the trade and I kept it open because it still met my criteria. However, I was kind of busy doing other things. I'm helping somebody move right now. So a little bit busy with the trade, but I do want to give you guys a follow-up, give you guys some input on what happened with the trade. You can see we got involved with the trade and price actually came down into our favor for a short time before going against us temporarily. Now we did not get stopped out of the trade. Fortunately, you can see price did not go too far as to get us out of the take profit in that, or on the stop loss, which was on purpose, right? The goal was to keep that stop loss not so tight. I talk about that quite often in my trades. You have to give your trades, in my opinion, and in my strategies, some sort of room to run. You have to give the trade some of the respect it deserves because the market does not move perfectly, right? Technical analysis is a great thing. However, it's not perfect. It never is and it never will be because there are so many people looking at the charts and so many people looking at them differently and so many variables and fundamental things kind of pushing price around, right? So we can't expect price to move perfectly at a particular technical level. At least that's my opinion. You can see I gave my stop some room to run. You can see I'm currently out of the trade. The trade is no longer on. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of follow-up about what actually happened. You can see price, we got in, price moved against us here for a short bit of time. We got kind of the trade kind of jumped up and moved past our entry for a short period of time. So we were negative for a little bit, but then price came back down into our profit. And you can see price started to consolidate a little bit on us, which as day trading goes, that's not the best thing that you can see happen. It's a little bit annoying, a little bit frustrating, but I usually keep my trades open. I usually let them kind of play out. And so what we can see here is I kept the trade open. We kind of saw price come back up. We saw price come back down. We saw price come back up into this area. But what I wanted to point out to you guys here is that if I get my pin up here, I wanted to point out the fact that overall you can see that price was respecting this zone still, right? Price does not come up much past even where the stop loss was. The stop loss was up here somewhere, right? And price did not go that high against us, right? It did not push past this zone. So what I was seeing is that this zone was still holding its strength. It was still showing strength. And until that zone actually breaks, then I want to stay in the trade because I think there might still be that sell bias that we talked about earlier in this video, right? So going forward, if we kind of clear the chart here and we get back on the chart, you can see we saw that price consolidate and price started to really slow down during the Asian session, of course. And then we started to see price drift in our favor and ultimately get us out of the trade for around $155 profit. Fantastic trade overall. It was a little bit slower. It was a little bit more frustrating than I would have wanted it to be because again, every time I checked the trade, it seemed like it hadn't really moved. And so it was hard for me to get back to the chart and give you guys an update. So again, overall though, this zone, the point of kind of sharing this with you guys is if we kind of draw in this zone here, right, was continuing to hold as a sell zone, right? We'll make that pink as, ooh, did I mess that up? We'll make this light pink, right? And what I wanted to show you guys is that price was still holding this area, right? It was not going much past this area of resistance, which is exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the price get kind of stopped and hold or held by this level, right? And that's exactly what we saw. We saw price start to roll over. It went in our favor and overall the trade closed profitably. Now, it would have been nice if I held it a little bit longer, but that's hindsight for you. You never know exactly what's going to happen until the market makes its own decision. So I'm not unhappy that I didn't hold this trade short. Would it have been nice? Sure, I probably would have maybe gotten lunch more, you know, at a nicer restaurant or something. But the idea here is that we're going to take profits when it hits our plan. I'm going to take profits when it fits the criteria that I set up for the trade. And that's how I'm going to continue to trade. I'm not going to get greedy. I'm not going to say, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that or change my rules just because something, you know, the mistake in my opinion would be to change all the back testing and all the studies that I've done to test this kind of concept and say, oh, well, I'm just going to go for a bigger profit because that might mean that, well, the market might reverse. You might have missed your opportunity. You have to make sure that you back test your strategies and that you stay stick to the plan when you're actually in the trade. Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't have some sort of course of action for when you're actually in the trade, you're not going to know what to do and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So for me, it means sticking to the plan. Overall, this was a great trade here on GBP USD. Again, about $155 profit. I'll take that. I'll close out the trades and I'll be done for the day. All right, thanks guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.